Hey, what's up everybody? Today we're joined by Neon Specialist Iridium, who's going to be giving us a few tips and tricks on how to play every map and how to play against the different agent matchups in the game. So let's get right into the video.
Hello, I'm Iridium. I'm a sweaty, immortal Neon main. All I do is play Neon ever since she came out back in, I think it was like January, February. I literally haven't touched like anyone else since.
Okay, so if somebody was trying to get into learning to play Neon, what is sort of like a general tip that you'd give them for mastering the agent?
The biggest thing I always say is just get super comfortable with her movement. Being able to go into like the run at like any point in time and just being able to do any sort of slide or movement. Like you want to not even have to think about what buttons you're going to have to press. So I would say just go into like a private match and just get really good with doing like a side slide, a back slide, jumping off of things, sliding off of them, and just being able to do anything, any movement, any slide without even having to think about it.
So let's go ahead and hop into kind of map specific stuff. What is like one major thing that you would tell somebody if they're trying to play it on ASCENT?
I usually actually start mid on like ASCENT, say on like defense side. I always, just a general rule of thumb for every map as well, but mainly ASCENT, I try to pick a site that has a lot of elevation to it because of Neon's abilities to be able to slide and jump on top of things. So like specifically if you're defending on a site on ASCENT, like you can jump on top of the gen, do some slides off of that, or throw stuns off of like the back walls and stuff. There's like this crazy slide where you jump off of heaven and like backslide off of the boxes down into hell, and you can like super catch someone off guard down there.
Okay, so we're gonna go through split, even though it's not in the map pool currently.
I believe I used to just play B, to be honest, just because of the height of like Rafter. You can just jump off of that, easily go into like CT from there, jump off the default box. I think the stuns are really good for B main off the rip if you want to get like a quick kill with like an op or something. You just kind of stun for someone, and just anywhere with a zip line too. There's the zip on B site.
Take me through Haven.
Yeah, so I again like to start usually on B just because like a default I'll do on pistol round. I'll like stun the window and then kind of walk up and try to get a pick grass and immediately peace out. This is on defense, by the way. Yeah, you can quickly rotate either to C or A, and that's really why it's powerful, I think, to just start mid there. Otherwise, I would probably play A, and I think a default there. There's a way you can get on top of the boxes on top of short. You can kind of start on A defending. You can really get down short super fast. Again, catch people off guard.
How about Bind? This is kind of a map that I don't really see a lot of Neons played on.
Yeah. I love playing B. I think I always default B defense. You'll always see me just be hopping up on top of the close cubby box, like right as you walk on a site from long. I think the stun's also really powerful here for hookah. You can kind of bank it off of like the ceiling and hookah to stun people that are in there, or if people are running up long. And if you throw it correctly, you can stun like the entirety of long.
Moving on to ICEBOX. What do you got for me?
My favorite, for sure. I'm A site, 1000% the best spot you can play with Neon. There's so much potential there's just so many boxes, so many zips you can jump off of. There's plenty of clips out there you can find of me just doing weird stuff. So on attack for this one, I would just highly suggest going up belt, and then from the corner on belt where you can jump onto pipes, that's like the best spot you can be with Neon on attack, because you could either jump and slide off of pipes or grab the zip line, jump on top of 410, jump off of that, do some crazy double zip grab. Like it's pretty much like trick shotting at this point.
Okay, how about Breeze?
Breeze is also one of my favorite maps with her for some reason. I know everyone like hates it, I feel like. You'll see plenty of clips of me getting like early picks where you can start tunnel, and if you time it right, you can jump onto that stone that's kind of at the top mid, then jump onto the half wall, immediately see down over into mid, like over the boxes, and that will again catch people off guard. I've always just found these early just routes you can take to just get a quick pick and peace out. Also the wall, I think people underestimate Neon's wall, like in the length that it actually goes. So you can completely cover and block off mid from tunnel down to double doors with her wall as well.
Couple more maps to go. Fracture, kind of like the main Neon map, I feel like.
Yeah.
A lot of all these pro teams.
Everyone always just thinks of Victor. He definitely like popularized like that in pro play. I naturally default over to like dish and arcade area, especially with the new dish. It's really easy, I feel like, to take that early because there's only the one entryway now. Yeah, Fracture, especially flanking, like I would always just highly suggest always having at least one person flanking. There's so many entryways into both sites.
What about Pearl?
New guy. On defense specifically, I default to A. There's also a couple boxes you can jump onto on B specifically if you're like, I actually like to op sometimes when I'm defensing on Neon. I'm trying to like, I've had this like long goal of like inventing like a Neon op meta, and I kind of try to make it happen on B site on defense on Pearl for some reason. A, also I like to play around pit, and you can jump on the half wall of pit, jump on the default box in the middle of the site. Really good stun you can do early if you're trying to do an early take on Pearl is kind of walk up the stairs a little bit, bank your stun off of that angled wall in A main, and then get an early pick on with someone. So I would always just recommend, if you're doing this, always have a battle buddy. That's always what I say. And like whether it's like a breach or like a sky, I think those are like the two best initiators.
Moving on to kind of agent interactions, are there any specific ones that you think Neon is like particularly good or bad against?
Bad, the one that always makes me so annoyed is KO. I think just instantly as I'm ulting, boom, this knife comes out and I can't ult anymore. The biggest thing I love about her is the ability to run faster, and like if you just, it just sucks it if you just get darted by KO. So you literally can't do anything.
What about like against smokes? Because obviously if you're trying to go fast and then there's something blocking your vision,
you're usually at that point of the smoke popping like before your teammates, and then it's either you can cross that line to be reckless and just go through the smoke alone, or something I've actually been trying to do recently is just a really quick like jump peek out of the smoke. You can actually just immediately just do like a 180 strafe in and out of the smoke before anyone on the other team knows what's going on, and you can just check your map and see if you saw anyone.
Okay, what about initiators? I mean, we talked about KO being kind of like the bane of your existence, but
yeah,
is there anything that you do to like counter them specifically?
Yeah, nothing. I don't really worry too much about like the sky dogs or the drones. I just immediately usually just shoot them immediately, no matter what. Like, unsaid rules of Valorant: always shoot the dart. With KO specifically, if I'm going to try to counter it, you just wait for the knife at the beginning of a round. If you're like executing, I would immediately just try to coincide your execute with when he doesn't have a knife.
And then as a duelist and as a fast duelist, you're kind of taking point of contact a lot of the time against other duelists, I would imagine. So
yes.
How do you beat other W keyers?
Better aim, for sure. A lot easier said than done. Yeah, just I think that point, I was actually just saying this in my stream the other day. It's in those situations, it's as much of a movement battle as it is an aim duel. Yeah, movement, Neon's #1 ability. And if you can just learn to do that and implement that into a 1v1 with another duelist, you'll probably come out with the win.
Okay, how about the Sentinel role? Is there anyone that gives you particular problems?
Yeah, the Cypher trips, for sure. I think Chamber's honestly really not that bad. If you get that info within the first couple rounds of where he's placing his trip, you can easily make a wall. Cypher definitely the most, because you really can't do much to jump over that if they're placing it correctly, that is. Honestly, more times than not, I feel like with stage walls, I feel like I can always find a way to jump on top of it. There's always like some little box somewhere, I feel like.
I feel like her ultimate is one of the hardest to get value out of, at least for a lot of people. So do you have any like specific tips or tricks for like using the ult correctly?
Obviously, always aim for head with it, because it lasers people. If you can hit three shots in the dome, and it literally takes like a third of a second to kill someone if you do that. I like to be over aggressive with it. I think you get rewarded more for being over aggressive with it, because you get the bonus slide for one. For two, you're just so fast with it. So I would recommend just going in like a private match and just get used to strafing around, never stop moving with like with A and D, and then pairing it and being able to track someone's head with your mouse to complement that movement. A big thing about Neon that I actually kind of didn't really touch on before is just always knowing when you have a slide available. So, and you always will have one when you start your ult. So if you just kind of plan accordingly and get that info where the enemies are, throw your stuns accordingly, and then, you know, slide in on as you're popping your ults.
And as a Neon player, Phantom or Vandal?
Honestly, Phantom, probably, because you just get so close to people. You know, you're rewarded more for spraying. Some of those days, the Vandal just hits, man. Especially the new green Ion Vandal. Oof, it hits. Okay. But yeah, if you're really trying to sweat it, definitely a Phantom.
Huge shout out to Iridium for joining us today. Thank you for all the tips and tricks. Be sure to check out his channels, which are linked down below.